In this video, we reveal the worst shark encounters ever recorded, where safe-looking shallows hide sudden bursts of primal violence. First, we will go into a bull shark tearing through waist-deep water at Topsail Beach. Then, another bull shark strikes a sandbar at Virginia Beach. And finally, a tiger shark turns a storm-churned surf at Hatteras into a deadly ambush zone. Starting off, a child's playful splashes mimicked a wounded fish, and in seconds, a bull shark's jaws turned the water red. In the early summer of 2011, the afternoon sun baked the sands of Topsail Beach, North Carolina. The air was heavy with heat and humidity, the gentle surf of the Atlantic offering the only relief. In the shallow, waist-deep water, 10-year-old Cassidy Cartwright played with her mother Carolyn. For the vacationers crowding the shoreline, the warm, murky water of the surf zone was a place of idyllic safety, a benign playground for families. This universal perception that the shallows were a sanctuary was a critical, collective misjudgment of an environment where the boundaries between human recreation and predator territory are dangerously and invisibly thin. The creature that patrolled this blurred boundary was a bull shark, Carcharhinus lucus, a species notorious for its aggression and its tolerance for shallow, coastal waters. A mature bull shark is a compact, powerful engine of muscle, equipped with a jaw that can generate thousands of pounds of pressure and rows of serrated triangular teeth designed not for piercing, but for shearing through flesh, tendon, and bone. They are opportunistic ambush predators. The foreshadowing of the event was not a visible sign, but a set of subtle, environmental data points for the season. Unusually high water temperatures had drawn large schools of bait fish closer to shore than normal. This ecological shift, noted by local fishermen, had in turn drawn the larger predators that fed on them into the very surf zone now occupied by swimmers. The critical action was the simple, innocent act of a child at play. Cassidy splashed and kicked in the turbid water, her movements creating the exact kind of low-frequency pressure waves and erratic flashes of light that a shark's sensory system is exquisitely designed to detect. From the predator's perspective, cruising through the murky trough just beyond the sandbar, the stimulus was not a human child. It was the biosignature of a struggling fish, a primary food source. Its brain, hardwired for millions of years of predatory efficiency, registered the signals and initiated a standard protocol, a high-speed investigatory bite to identify the nature of the target. The attack was a sudden mechanical event devoid of malice. There was no fin, no warning. In one instant, Cassidy was standing in the warm water. In the next, a powerful, unseen force slammed into her from below, knocking her off her feet. A moment later, a jaw closed around her lower leg. The pressure was immense, a crushing, vice-like force. She felt not a series of sharp pricks, but the rough, sawing texture of the serrated teeth grinding against her skin and bone. Then came a violent lateral shake of the shark's head, a brutal tearing motion designed to sever tissue. She felt a series of distinct internal snaps as her tendons parted. Immediately after, the pressure was gone. The entire event lasted less than 2 seconds. For a brief moment, there was only confusion. Then she looked down and saw the water around her leg blossom into a thick, opaque cloud of crimson. The scream that followed was a raw, primal sound that cut through the placid sounds of the beach. Carolyn rushed to her daughter, pulling her from the water that was now dark with her own blood. On the sand, the extent of the damage was horrifically clear. The flesh on the back of Cassidy's leg was shredded, a mangled ruin of tissue. Blood pulsed from the wound in a terrifying rhythmic surge. Bystanders rushed to help. applying makeshift tourniquets. The subsequent medical response was swift. Cassidy was airlifted to a hospital where surgeons began a 10-hour emergency procedure. The official medical report was a clinical forensic accounting of the bite, a complete transection of the Achilles tendon, along with 2 other major tendons, and catastrophic soft tissue damage consistent with the dentition of a 5 to 6 foot bull shark. Cassidy's ordeal was not an isolated freak accident. It was the opening event in a series of 7 attacks that would occur along the North Carolina coast over the next 2 months. Her attack stands as a brutal clinical record of how subtle environmental shifts can redraw the lines between human territory and a predator's hunting ground. It is a forensic testament to the fact that the ocean does not recognize our designated safe zones, and that the unforgiving reality of its ecological laws is often first announced by the scream of a child in the shallows. Coming up next, on a shallow sandbar that seemed safe, a bull shark rose from the murky inlet and severed an artery with a single catastrophic bite. On September 1st, 2001, the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, a late summer heat settled over Virginia Beach. At the Lynn Haven Inlet, a popular recreational area, families gathered on a shallow sandbar to escape the heat. The water was warm and calm, creating an illusion of a perfectly safe, contained environment. Wading in this seemingly placid water was 10-year-old David Michael Connolly. The critical misjudgment of the day was a collective one, shared by everyone on the sandbar. The belief that this tranquil inlet was a sanctuary, separate from the wild, unpredictable nature of the open ocean to which it was directly connected. The predator that exploited this misconception was a bull shark, Carcharinus lucus. This species is a biological anomaly, possessing a unique physiological adaptation that allows it to regulate salt and thrive in the brackish and even fresh waters of coastal inlets and rivers. It is a robust, powerful hunter with some of the highest levels of testosterone found in any animal, a trait linked to its extreme aggression. Its jaws are a biomechanical engine of destruction, delivering thousands of pounds of pressure through rows of serrated teeth designed to shear through the thick hides of turtles and marine mammals. The foreshadowing of the event was not a specific sign, but the inherent geography of the inlet itself. The water, while shallow on the sandbar, was murky, offering near zero visibility. Just yards away from where families waded, a deep channel carved by the tides served as a natural highway for large marine life moving in from the Atlantic. The critical action was the simple, innocent act of wading in thigh-deep water. David Meikle, standing near his father, was a small silhouette in a world of indistinct shapes and pressure waves. From the shark's perspective, patrolling the edge of that deep channel, the murky water obscured all detail. It did not see a child. It detected the low-frequency vibrations of movement, the signature of potential prey. The smaller, more erratic movements of David Meikle presented a biosignature consistent with a large fish or a small dolphin, triggering a swift, exploratory, and ultimately catastrophic predatory strike. The attack was a sudden, brutally efficient event. There was no warning fin, no visible approach. In one instant, David Meikle was standing in the calm water. In the next, the water around him erupted in a violent churn of white and gray. A moment later, a jaw, wide and powerful, closed around his left thigh. The serrated teeth, moving with the full force of the shark's mass, sheared through skin, muscle, and tissue, severing the femoral artery in a single catastrophic bite. Immediately after, the shark released him and disappeared back into the murky depths. The entire event lasted only a few seconds. The first and only sound was a single piercing scream. Let's have a quick break. Here's a question for some bright minds thirst for more knowledge. What is a shark's weapon? Comment below and subscribe so that you will be alert if there is another megamind like you. The water around David Meikle instantly turned a dark, opaque red. His father grabbed him, lifting him from the water as a torrent of blood pulsed from the devastating wound. The scene on the sandbar descended into chaos. People screamed and fled the water. A makeshift tourniquet was applied, but the damage was too severe, the blood loss too massive and too rapid. Paramedics arrived to a horrific scene. Despite their efforts, David McCall was pronounced dead shortly after. The official cause of death listed as exsanguination from a severed femoral artery. The official response was swift. The city's beaches were closed. Marine biologists and shark experts were called in to investigate. A forensic analysis of the bite radius and tooth marks left in the boy's femur confirmed the attacker was a bull shark, estimated to be between 6 and 8 feet in length. The death of David Michael Connolly stands as a tragic clinical record of a fatal human-shark encounter. It is a brutal testament to the deceptive nature of coastal inlets and a permanent heartbreaking reminder that the invisible boundary between a shallow, family-friendly sandbar and an apex predator's hunting ground can be erased in a single devastating instant. Our final story tells a tragedy of a victim losing a leg facing a tiger shark. On September 6, 2001, the post-Labor Day calm on Hatteras Island, North Carolina, was a deceptive one. The sky was overcast, and the Atlantic was a churning, agitated slate gray, a hangover from a recent storm. The water was turbulent and murky, with visibility reduced to near zero. It was in this volatile environment that 2 Russian students, 28-year-old Sergei Zalukayev and 23-year-old Natalia Slobodskaya, waded into the surf near the town of Avon. Their critical misjudgment was a profound underestimation of their environment, a decision to enter a churning, low-visibility ocean that was not a benign playground, but a perfect ambush zone. The predator operating in that zone was likely a tiger shark, Galiocerdo cuvier, an apex predator known for its indiscriminate feeding habits and its presence in the turbulent waters of the Outer Banks. A mature tiger shark is a formidable biological machine, often exceeding 12 feet in length. Its primary weapon is its unique dentition, rows of large, curved, serrated teeth that function not like piercing daggers, but like a reciprocating saw, designed to shear through the toughest materials, from turtle shells to bone. The foreshadowing of the event was not a local sign, but a regional state of alarm. Just 5 days prior, and a few hundred miles north in Virginia, a 10-year-old boy had been killed in a shark attack. The incidents pointed to a dangerous convergence of environmental factors that had pushed large, aggressive sharks unusually close to shore. The critical action was Sergei and Natalia walking out into the chest-deep, churning water. The powerful currents and murky conditions placed them in a state of extreme sensory deprivation and vulnerability. From the shark's perspective, navigating the chaotic, sediment-filled water, the world was a matrix of pressure waves and indistinct silhouettes. It did not detect 2 humans. It detected the low-frequency vibrations of large bodies moving erratically in the surf, a biosignature indistinguishable from that of a large sea turtle or a wounded marine mammal, a primary food source. The lack of visibility eliminated the possibility of a tentative, investigatory approach, turning a potential test into a committed, predatory strike. The attack was a sudden, brutally efficient, 2-stage event. There was no warning. In one instant, Sergei was standing. In the next, the water around him erupted as the shark struck from below. A moment later, its jaws closed around his left leg and torso. The curved, serrated teeth engaged with his flesh and bone, and with a violent lateral shake of its head, the shark sheared through his femur, severing the leg at the hip and tearing away a massive section of his torso. Immediately after, as Natalia moved instinctively towards him, the shark turned. Its jaws closed on her foot, the teeth grinding through the small bones of her ankle with a crushing, grinding force. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the creature released her and vanished back into the opaque, churning water. The ocean, which a moment before had been a place of recreation, was now an opaque, expanding cloud of blood. Natalia, screaming, fought to hold on to Sergei's grievously wounded body as the surf crashed around them. Lifeguards, alerted by the commotion, sprinted into the water, pulling the two victims from the bloody chaos. On the sand, they fought desperately to stop the catastrophic bleeding from Sergei's wounds, but the damage was absolute. He was pronounced dead on the beach from massive blood loss and traumatic amputation. Natalia was stabilized and rushed to a medical facility. The official forensic examination of the wounds was a grim accounting of the predator's efficiency. The clean, arcing wound that had amputated Sergei's leg and the severe, crushing lacerations on Natalia's foot were deemed consistent with the unique dentition of a large tiger shark estimated to be over 10 feet in length. The incident, following so closely on the heels of the Virginia fatality, sent a wave of terror through the coastal communities. It stands as a clinical, brutal record of a worst-case scenario. A confluence of dangerous environmental conditions, a known increase in predatory activity, and a fatal decision to enter the water, turning an idyllic shoreline into a lethal ambush zone in a matter of seconds. Bye now. Drop a comment and let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. See you soon.